Good evening. This lovely 25th day of December 2018 in our top stories. Tonight, government responds to Kisauni killings.
We are going to step up. We will clean up that place.
Matiangi's stern warning to criminal gangs at the coast. Also tonight, attacker hurls grenade at a security checkpoint.
We are still having investigations to determine whether he's crossed the border or is within us.
And these are the latest victims of terror in Mandera. Plus,
ameenda clinic once, hospitali iko mbali. Hawezi manage kwenda hospitali na kurudi tena.
The jagged path to basic health care for the cut-off villages of Marsabit. And also tonight,
it's been fantastic. We've enjoyed ourselves, especially swimming in the ocean.
How the country celebrated Christmas Day.
NTV Tonight with Zainab Ismail.
Thank you so much for making the time for us. Our sign language interpreter this evening is David Agondo, and of course, a blessed day for our Christian brothers. How did you spend this holiday? Talk to us. Our Twitter handle is at NTV Kenya, subsequently at Zainab Ismail, the hashtag NTV Tonight. Now, the national government now says it is stepping up surveillance in Kisauni area of the coast region following Sunday's violent robbery incident which claimed 4 lives and left 3 persons hospitalized. Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i says the government is paying special attention to the area with a view to flushing out criminal elements. Julian Zamboko with the details.
Speaking in the Kayole area of Nairobi, Interior CS Fred Matiang'i expressed concern at the resurgence of violent crime in Kisauni. Matiang'i says his office is working closely with that of the Inspector General of Police, Joseph Boynet, to see to it that persons perpetrating crime are brought to book. He spoke in the wake of Sunday's attack in which 2 robbers stormed an M-Pesa shop, shooting dead 4 people and leaving 3 others hospitalized.
The IG and I are paying very special attention, even as I'm here, very special attention on what is going on in Kisauni. And yesterday we agreed with the regional security team. We are going to step up and we will clean up that place. Those of you who are in the security sector, you know what I mean. We will clean up that place because there are people who think they can attack wananchi alafu wajifiche huko kwingine. We will enter there ourselves.
And the number of days.
Matiang'i has also called upon police officers to work closely with community leaders to strengthen sourcing of information on criminals and mitigating recurrence of such incidences.
The new trend in policing the country is based on an inclusive approach where we work together, all of us. I am now asking police officers, especially the OCPDs and the OCSS, in a community like this, in Kayole, nataka sasa tuanze mipango kapambe ya kushirikiana na viongozi wa jamii hapa. MCA, women leaders, everybody. We work with them. These community leaders hapa, tunakaa nao chini. Our Ngao officials are here, the DCC, the SCC, chiefs, wote.
Mombasa and the surrounding areas have of late experienced a crime wave that has claimed several lives, among them a former deputy governor of Kilifi County. Julian Zamboko, NTV.
Now, 4 police officers were today injured in a grenade attack in Mandera. An unknown assailant threw a grenade at a security checkpoint, injuring the 4 officers who are currently recuperating at the Mandera County Referral Hospital. Mandera County Commissioner Kutso Olaka said the assailants fled from the scene after hurling the grenade. The 4 officers were manning the Kenya-Somali border point when the attack happened.
We are trying to follow some leads, and if we get something substantive out of that, we should be able to share with the public through the press. We are still having investigations to determine whether he's crossed the border or is within us.
Now, the whereabouts of a 15-year-old girl who was rescued from a forced marriage in Nairobi's Eastleigh estate cannot be established. The girl passed her KCPE exams in northeastern Kenya and wanted to carry on with her education and has seemingly disappeared into thin air. Attempts by the NTV crew to ask about her whereabouts at Pangani police station, which was handling the case, drew a blank. Police had indicated that the minor would be taken to a children's home in Isli, but the home said it had not received the girl since Sunday when the planned forced marriage was uncovered. The girl's two elder sisters, who were arrested on the day of their aborted wedding, were released on bond yesterday. The case is set to continue after 2 weeks of investigations. According to children's rights officers, the girl was supposed to be taken to the children's home but was not, and her whereabouts have suddenly become a mystery. However, the OCPD in charge of Pangani police station said the case has been forwarded to DCI headquarters.
Nikaenda kumtafuta kwa mama Fatuma na hawakumpeleka kwa mama Fatuma. And then wakaniambia kwa police station, Pangani police station, nimerudi kwa polisi, wakasema msichana ashawachiliwa na kesi imeisha. So I want to know kesi imeisha aje na kwa nini wamerudisha msichana kwa mama yake.
Now, motorists and passengers flouting traffic rules will be immediately taken to court to face the full force of the law. Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i now says the police have changed their tact in dealing with traffic offenders with reinforced police presence and surveillance day and night. This comes as over 1,300 arrests were made on Christmas Eve on the busy Nairobi-Mombasa highway, where numerous accidents occurred during the festive season. Matiang'i says the police officers have the numbers to man all roads effortlessly now that they have cancelled their leaves during this season.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i has issued a stern warning to all commuters during this festive season, saying those who violate traffic rules will serve as an example.
We are not joking. Tuko very serious na hii maneno. Na kila mtu ajue kwamba hatutalala. Na hata mambo ya kuangalia watu ambao wanalewa na wanaendesha magari barabarani. Sasa unaona tumebadilisha mtindo wa kuangalia usiku peke yake. Tunaangalia hata mchana na hata asubuhi.
Police surveillance has been beefed up with police checks and the number of police roadblocks significantly increasing on various roads to ensure road safety for those traveling up country this holiday. According to Makueni County Commissioner Mohamed Maalim, who led a crackdown at Malili and Kanga black spots near Mtituandei on the busy Nairobi-Mombasa highway, 6.3 million shillings were collected from fines and cash bails after over 1,300 traffic offenders were arrested on that road on Christmas Eve.
Ukora wa Kenya akiona traffic mahali ama police ni kupiga mataa, anasema huko mbele wako. Hiyo peke yake is a deterrence. And that's what we want to do. We create our presence along this highway.
Kwamba tutakuwa wakali kidogo safari hii. Na unaona kwamba kufikia sasa hiyo watu wengine wetu tunalalamika eti tumesukumwa kidogo kwa barabara, lakini tafadhali tutaendelea kufanya hivyo mpaka tuhakikishe kwamba hatupotezi maisha wakati huu. Hatutaki kupembele sana ili watu wetu wafe huko kwa barabara.
The police and National Transport and Safety Authority officials have heightened their partnership to ensure the number of accidents in the festivities reduce drastically. The number of speed gadgets and alcohol blows have been increased in the various police stations countrywide. Matiang'i was speaking when he and the Inspector General of Police Joseph Bunet brought gifts and foodstuff to police officers at the Kayole police station as a way of celebrating Christmas with them and appreciating them for their service to residents. Daniel Mule, NTV.
Now, hundreds of Christians flocked to church today for the Christmas Mass. Church leaders and worshippers took the opportunity to pass a message of peace and love as the world celebrated the Christmas celebrations. Rose Wangoi has more details.
Christmas for many Christians around the world is the high point of the Advent season. It is about Thanksgiving. Christmas is a party. It is about sharing the love and celebrating the gift of life. Many Christians in Nairobi took time today to attend church services in various parts of the city. Dozens flocked the All Saints Cathedral to mark Christmas, an annual event that commemorates the birth of Jesus. The head of the Anglican Church of Kenya, Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit, led the mass. The Christmas message was living in peace, love and unity. Ole Sapit urged Kenyans to support the ongoing war against corruption as they seek to build a just and prosperous nation.
Let this Christmas be a Christmas that every Kenyan is going to make the right decision, so that when we go to 2019, we are going to a year with better decision, a well-organized people, a well-organized nation, a well-organized church, well-organized families.
Ole Sapit also called on Christians to use the day to reflect on their contribution to the development of society.
Every one of us, those who are in position of leadership, those who are led, those who are less privileged, let us all share with each other the message of goodwill of God himself by bringing Christ, who came to be the hope of the world.
Catholic faithful also flocked the Holy Family Basilica to celebrate Christmas Day. Nairobi Catholic Archbishop John Cardinal Njue, who was delivering his sermon during the Christmas Mass, reminded Christians that the agenda of God towards humanity is in the spirit of reconciliation through Jesus Christ, whose birthday was celebrated worldwide. Njue called on Kenyans to be mindful of their fellow citizens, particularly the less fortunate, and to share the little they have with the needy during this festive season. Rozongwe, NTV.
Now, other than attending Christmas service in churches, thousands of Nairobi and Eldoret residents flocked to various entertainment spots to celebrate Christmas with their loved ones. NTV's Seth Olale joined revelers here in the capital to have a feel of what Christmas means to them.
For thousands of Nairobi residents, Christmas is not just Christmas holiday without visiting some of the iconic sites here in the capital, and this is the reason why.
Nimeona nikija nisherehekea na watoto wangu hapa. Unajua si jambo la kawaida. Watu wanaanza mwaka Januari, ujui kama unaweza fika Disemba siku kama hii.
Nilipiga hesabu nikienda ushago. Is a lot of money. Kuna fare kuenda na kuna kurudi. Hapa Nairobi niko na watoto wanasoma.
Sijaenda ushago kwa sababu niliona nikienda huko, yani huku ndo niliona nitafurahia poa.
Penye tumekuwa tukispend sana ushago, tukaamua leo tukulie huku.
Okay. Revelers were spoiled for choice on the fun things to do such as boat rides, merry-go-rounds, camel rides, slides, car car rides, photography, among others. The huge crowd that turned up at Uhuru, Central and Luna Parks came as a boost for traders who used the opportunity to make a kill.
Wamekuja, at least wanachukua. So tunasema iko sawa.
Traffic was momentarily slowed by. Thousands of revelers who thronged various venues, with police patrols visible in the city center. Similar scenes were witnessed in Eldoret town as residents flocked to recreation areas to celebrate Christmas with their loved ones. Many city dwellers returning home feel satisfied having celebrated this Christmas with their loved ones. They will be hoping for a similar feat next year, perhaps at the same venue. Seth Olale, NTV, Nairobi.
Well, I hope you enjoyed yourself, Seth, while at it. But in Mombasa, thousands trooped to various attractions across the coastal city, including public beaches and even churches, to celebrate the day. Kevin Mutai reports that players in the hospitality industry also recorded full bookings across the various facilities.
Holiday makers, including tourists from Western countries, thronged resorts and beaches to celebrate Christmas Day in Mombasa. The Jomo Kenyatta, Nyali and Mombasa public beaches, as well as Mama Ngina gardens, were full of merrymakers, most of whom were domestic tourists.
It's been fantastic. We've enjoyed ourselves, especially swimming in the ocean.
I decided to come here because I feel it is the best place to be.
This is my second time to come here, and for sure I can say that when you come to Mombasa and you don't come to Pirates Beach, then you don't make it.
It was a hive of activities as the pleasure seekers tried out a number of fun activities. And as businessmen sought to cash in on the Christmas festivities.
Jinsi wateja walivyojazana hapa, tunasema nashukuru, manake ni kazi nzuri kwetu pia kama wapigaji picha.
Utalii kidogo ilikuwa imepoteza biashara, lakini sasa tunashukuru local tourist imekuja. Manake international kidogo wameenda chini kabisa.
Security had been beefed up along the beaches and other areas such as churches and entertainment joints where huge crowds had gathered for the festivities. A police helicopter hovered overhead as uniformed policemen also kept watch on the ground.
All beaches za Mombasa zimekuwa well covered. Tuko na enough life savers, enough first aiders ambao watakuwa on standby during this festive season.
Usianze kwenda kuhangaisha watu kwa sababu unatumia mihadarati. Kama unajua uko kwenye mihadarati na unataka kusaidia, jitokeze na utasaidika.
Kila atakayekuwa katika ufuo wa bahari awe macho, akiona jambo lolote aweze kuripoti kwa police station ambayo tumeweka hapa.
Players in the tourism and hospitality industry are enjoying brisk business, with most hotels fully booked for the season. Public transport operators were also cashing in on the influx of visitors, ferrying them to and from popular sites. The Mapochopocho festival, usually held on Christmas Eve, showcased and provided an opportunity for holiday goers to celebrate local delicacies. It also gave the hospitality and food industries a marketing opportunity. In churches, worshippers kept vigil overnight and marked Christmas Day with songs and dances. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
All right, and later on during the course of this bulletin, we'll be able to show you how the NTV family celebrated this Christmas Day just here within the Nation Center. You want to stay tuned for that. But we're going to take a very short break here on NTV Tonight. We'll be back with much more. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching NTV Tonight. Now, for many families in the cut-off villages of Marsabit, accessing even the most basic medical care is often a 2 days walk. In villages such as Hafari, the ill, the aged, the very young and the expectant mothers have to decide whether to make this torturous journey or just hope they will get better. Laila Mohammed documents the struggle to access healthcare for those living through there.
The very young play among the very old under this manyatta in Hafare village, the weather playing a big part in why at this hour this structure gives them comfort from the unbearable heat as they while away the day. For some of the babies being cuddled by their grandmothers, they don't have even the most basic defense against diseases. They should have received these jabs in hospital, but such medical facilities are non-existent here.
Wanakaa mpaka mwezi tatu. Wakati mtoto anafikisha mwezi tatu ama 4, wakati wanaweza kuweka hivyo hapa hivi inabebeka, ndio wanaanza safari ya kwenda kutafutia watoto wao sindano au wenyewe.
For those heavy with child, the journey to the nearest health facility in Kor or Balha for much-needed prenatal care is an excruciating venture. Thus, they have to depend on the traditional birth attendants to take care of them.
Huyu mama na huyu hao wili ndio wanasalishanga hiyo kina mama ya hii manyatta yote tatu.
Awili hakiore ateza?
Mele. Akembo.
Kuna 2 kids. Huyu ni the third one mwenye ako PG na ameenda clinic once.
Anatarajia kujifungulia nyumbani ama hospitali?
Anasema hospitali iko mbali. Hawezi manage kwenda hospitali na kurudi tena.
There is, however, a startling distinction in Kor, the nearest center from Hafare, but that is still kilometers away.
Aramia. Huyu mtoto nimepata hizo chanjo zote kwa sababu walikuwa wanaishi Kor hiyo siku.
In Balha, about 17 kilometers from the cut-off Hafare village, at the fall of dusk, only 2 patients were waiting in line to be attended to. But a health crisis is unfolding in these remote pockets of villages.
A mother, a pregnant woman can come for maybe 2 NC visit, but later she delivers at home because the experience, how the situation is, how she will be handled, it's like they fear because they are not used to.
The facility has 5 beds that can care for mothers during delivery, but many still choose to stay and deliver at home with the help of traditional birth attendants, in part due to traditional practices.
Based on research, it came to be realized that between now first antenatal visit to the next one, a mother can have some complication in between, and if you give a duration maybe 1 or 2 months, then you see the mother today. Tomorrow the woman develops some complication. Some complication might not be that severe to an extent that it can be noticed early. So if the mother, maybe you see her today, develop some complication tomorrow, then and they are not severe that they can be seen earlier, then there is possibility, chances are that the mother or even the depending on the complication, they complicate even affecting the child.
The language barrier due to a huge uneducated population sometimes poses a challenge to those giving care. On some occasions, there can be a misdiagnosis. This grandmother with her grandchild in tow have been complaining about fever. They suspect they have been infected with malaria, but the nurse on duty will inform them with certainty what ails them after testing their blood. They braved the daytime heat to get to this facility just before dusk falls, but for many other families, it's just not worth the trouble. Laila Mohammed, NTV, Marsabit County.
All right, and we're going to take yet another short break. When we come back, we take a look at the day's business news. Malwa has called on leaders from the Western region to foster unity among themselves with an aim of tackling challenges facing residents from the region. Omalwa, who is speaking in Kitale town in Trans Nzoia County, says leaders should take advantage of the prevailing political truce between President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM's Raila Odinga to initiate development programs.
Tukihimiza umoja wetu na pia kuweza kuelekeza fikra zetu kwa badala ya kupigana sisi wenyewe, tupiganie wakulima wetu wa miwa waweze kupata malipo yao Januari ikifika. Tupiganie pia wakulima wetu wa mahindi wengi ambao wamekuwa na shida kubwa sana mwaka huu, na marekebisho yanaendelea kuja katika idara mbalimbali hata ya kilimo, mambo ya NCPB kuhudumia wananchi, task force Mheshimiwa Rais aliweka. Tuna matarajio makubwa baada ya Krismasi task force hii iweze kutekeleza majukumu yake, na watu ambao wanalia sana haswa wakulima wa mahindi hapa Trans Nzoia na maeneo haya ambayo tunakuza mahindi waweze kupata maisha bora. Wakulima wa miwa pia kule magharibi mwa Kenya, Nyanza, bado wanangojea ile task force ya sukari pia kusuluhisha shida.
All right, we'll take a very short break. When we come back, we'll be taking a look at how football has been able to, progress this year. Stay tuned. Now, 2018 was a year that saw numerous ups and downs in Kenyan football, from the amputee stars slipping on the Sports Ministry office floor, the national women team's slot at the African Women's Cup of Nations snatched at the 11th hour, to the men qualifying for the AFCON for the first time in 15 years. Ida Waringa takes us through the year that was.
Football in Kenya doesn't always evoke the most positive of emotions. But 2018 was a bit different though. Yes, the lows were low, but some of the highs were also incredibly high. Join me as we look back on the year that was.
Well, the captain of this side.
2018 has been a topsy-turvy year for the national football team, the Harambee Stars. Kenya may have ended her 15-year African Cup of Nations qualification drought, but still finished the year at a lowly 105 in the FIFA rankings, with management of Harambee Stars a continuous headache.
To make sure that everything is professional, and that's my experience that I will bring on board. And I think for the other people, they don't have to take it that they are not good enough. No, it's just that they are working on a certain level. If you want to try to qualify for AFCON, you cannot make mistakes in your preparations. First of all, it has to be on 200%, because football, it's a detail, and it's a detail that makes the difference. So we cannot joke with anything. We have to do it a professional way.
After a mere 3 months at the helm, Belgian Paul Put called it quits as Harambee Stars coach in February, citing personal reasons, a euphemism for his demands for professionalism not being heeded by Football Kenya Federation. In March, Frenchman Sébastien Meunier was unveiled as the new Harambee Stars head coach. Meunier's tenure has yielded stunning results, top amongst them Kenya's stunning 4-time AFCON champions Ghana 1-0 at home, a gritty barren draw with Ethiopia at a packed Bahir Dar Stadium, and an emphatic 3-0 win against the Walia Antelopes in Nairobi. These results, coupled with Sierra Leone's FIFA ban, resulted in the AFCON 2019 ticket. But Meunier has spent 2018 singing the blues, as his salary and allowances were never paid on time.
I'm not very happy at all, in fact. And I think I will be very short tonight, because during the week, it was a missing of respect with this team. When I saw Cameroon have a training in this ville, and not us, we were in military school. It's not possible to work like that if you want to achieve a high level. We are so far from the high level.
Harambee Stars is jinxed. For Meunier is a foreigner. You bring in a foreigner here, and then he goes through that. It's not the best of things. And he's not the only coach anyway. We have other coaches who are still owed money by the federation. So it's very unfortunate.
With Kenya on the verge of AFCON qualification, the government belatedly came on board with promises. The most hyped being the 50 million shillings pledge by the Deputy President William Ruto, which is yet to be fulfilled.
I told you Friday morning we are praying for you, and the whole country is behind you. You have witnessed for yourself. The turnout in this stadium is record. It has never been like this. Yes. And thank you for making us proud.
Despite funds seemingly being tight for the national football team and professional management still a bridge too far, there is still talk of Kenya camping in France ahead of AFCON 2019.
The plan is that in May, once the season ends, immediately the season ends, which is around May 9th, 11th, then we will be on camp for 3 weeks before going to the Cup of Nations. And we shall come back to you once it is confirmed where the Cup of Nations. If it will be in the northern part of Africa, for sure we will host in France. If it will be down south, then we have to change the plan and work on a new plan.
Talk of seeking to run before one can even crawl.
Kenya still has its final round of CAF qualification to go. The Harambee Stars traveling to Ghana in March 2019, having drawn first blood here in Kasarani.
Matters have also been bittersweet for the national women's football team, the Harambee Starlets. On the pitch, the Starlets lost 3-2 on aggregate to Equatorial Guinea in the African Women's Cup of Nations qualifiers. FKF then launched an appeal citing fielding of ineligible players by their opponents, which CAF ruled in favour of. The decision would see the Harambee Starlets make their second appearance at the competition after their maiden bow in 2016 in Cameroon. As is the norm, this led to FKF unleashing the begging bowl, even as it put in place half-hearted preparations.
Just like the president did, Mr. Nick Mwendwa, to the government and also to the president of the nation, Mr. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. My players called for him to call them to State House. These girls are giving their best in training every day. What motivation can we give them? Even as Kenya scrapped around for money, the rug was pulled from under the Harambee Starlets' feet, with CAF reinstating Equatorial Guinea to the competition with days left to kick off. Kenya's appeal at the Court of Arbitration for Sport is still on as FKF attempts to mend the Starlets' broken hearts. In what was a silver lining, Kenya was selected by FIFA to pilot a women's football development program, which will see the country receive a grant of 100 million shillings in 2019. As a build-up to this, 2018 has seen coaching courses, referee training, as well as leadership workshops conducted across the country.
Participants from as far as Malindi, Moyale, Marakwet, South Rift, Kericho, and from all over the country, because the participants are drawn from all our 20 branches, and each branch sent 2 representatives.
Participants are teachers, and obviously they are the ones that are in schools. They are the ones that must go and empower our young girls. And hopefully we really want to see that we can have a retaining strategy, especially when it comes to the former players. How can we retain them in the game? How can they go back and become referees? How can some of them become leaders in women's football? We want the girls that they train to go out and play professionally, and and be big names, and we can come back to the girls and say, you can also do this, you can also be this. That way we grow the women's game. We feel that we have a lot of potential in Africa to be among the top nations in women's football.
It's hoped that the foundation being put in place will translate to the increased growth of the women's game across the country and finally translate to positive results for the Harambee Starlets. Amputee football is often viewed as a marginalized discipline, and the national team hoped to change this narrative when they qualified for the World Cup in Mexico. However, the team's tribulations before, during, and after the Amputee World Cup brought to the fore how badly national teams are treated by those in charge of sports administration.
I really want to express my disappointment to the Ministry of Sports following what we saw last week to people with disabilities and their participation in sports.
From playing in Team Sonko branded jerseys to sleeping on airport floors due to lengthy layovers, and finally sleeping on the floors of the ministry office in protest over unpaid dues upon return from Mexico, the amputee stars have seen it all.
On the part of Team Kenya and Sonko Clothing, I wish to explain that from the ministry point of view, the team came to us and said that they had all their expenses and requirements covered except for the tickets. We provided them with the tickets, and we did not know that the kit that they were going to wear was Sonko. We found that out when they were already on the pitch.
Despite their tribulations, the team would finish 12th out of 24 globally and second in Africa, their best ever performance. Sports Cabinet Secretary Rashid Echasa promised to settle outstanding dues, a commitment yet to be fulfilled. Ida Warenga, NTV.
All right, thank you so much, Ida Waringa. That was what was happening in the football scene this year. Now we're going to take a short break. When we come back, my colleague Brian Otwal will take us through the other sports news making headlines across the country.